Hello everyone, Kate here from Keight Krafts, sharing with you another project for Hollow Tree Hobbies. Let's get started. So to kick things off, we are switching things up today and I'm doing something a little bit different for the Hollow Tree Hobbies YouTube channel. I'm going to be working with this Pink and Main die set. Now this is a new to me die set. I've only ever worked with a few Pink and Main products before, but having a die that cuts out different shapes for card layouts is totally different to me. I've never really worked with anything quite like this. So this is going to be a learning experience, and I thought I would share with you my learning experience as I went. So it gives you all these neat shapes that will cut out layering bits for you to put together a card, and I tell you, this one die set alone, the possibilities are endless. And one of the things that I found with it, that it does cut out a 6x6, um, but my advice would be to get a little bit longer in cards, so maybe a 6 1/4 kind of thing, because I find in the 6x6 cardstock that I used, or the pattern paper that I used, it didn't quite cut out that little tiny strip. So just a word of advice, if you do use these, just keep that in mind. I don't think it made any difference to me. I just had to make sure that I used a longer piece of card stock, and then, if I needed something different, just to shift the cardstock to be able to accommodate the size of the die. So here, again, I'm really winging it. I thought I would try a piece of copy paper first to glue everything down, as opposed to gluing this, I guess, this foundation onto my card base. And you don't have to do it this way. This was just something that I thought I would try, as my thought process was like, okay, how am I going to put all these bits and bobs together? Because I'm used to building scenes with stamps and creating backgrounds and then just kind of layering them up that way. Whereas this is a lot more involved as far as layering is concerned. And I don't know, I had a lot of fun trying to figure out how I wanted these to go together. Now, like I said, the possibilities to this die are quite endless. You could, like, I was blown away at how much creativity you could get from one die in itself. So, as you can see, I ended up having two cards for this one because I couldn't tell which one I liked better, and I wanted to show you both of them. So we're just taking these strips and we're gluing them along the edge here, and we'll be able to trim off all that excess later. And if you are interested in these die, in this die set in particular, I will make sure to leave a link in the description box below to the Hollow Tree Hobbies website where you can buy these, and I'll make sure to leave the direct link too, as well as any other products that I'm using. You can find some of them on the Hollow Tree Hobbies website, and if they are not there or out of stock, all you have to do is send Kimberly a message and she will let you know if she can order them for you. And yeah, I've gotten a few things from her that way as well, and it's very handy. So once we've cut off the excess there, we can go ahead and finish layering up our card. But first I want to make sure to add the little bit of glue there to the edges so that they're not lifting. And for our second card, I wasn't too sure how I wanted to put this together, so I was kind of messing around with the layout, and I wanted to have a band go across the center of it. So what we're going to do is we are going to take the smaller pieces here and just layer them up on top of the angle pieces. And I'm using my grid mat to kind of eyeball where it is I need to measure that out. It's not perfect, but overall I thought it turned out pretty good where I layered these guys in there. Now you can be a little bit more precise with a T-square ruler, or you can glue everything together and then put these on. This is just me showing you the first go at using this type of die set, so forgive me. I'm not very technical with how I'm doing it, but I don't know, I really enjoyed playing with this one. So once we've got that glued down, we can go ahead and cut off the excess here, and then we'll be able to layer it on. Now, for this card, I decided that I was going to glue everything directly onto my card base instead of using a piece of copy paper and building it up that way. But you see, you don't even need those back layered pieces. You could layer right on top of the cardstock like that with the top layers there. Or I don't know, layer 2, I guess I could call it. So the first layer we're going to glue right directly onto our card base, and I want to make sure that I've got enough glue around the edges so that way we don't get any lifting. And I do a lot of lines with the glues, and then I ended up adding a little bit of extra glue to the edge of that diagonal there. So again, we don't get any lifting, which, I'm kind of heavy-handed with the glue when it comes to that sort of thing. So once we've got that in place, we'll go ahead and give that a good mash down, and then we'll go ahead and add more glue to the other side, so that way we can line up that other side to our card base, and we've got the contrasting yellow and that green, and I don't know, this was fun. I think for sure that this would be a good tie set to have if you needed a quick card. All you have to do is choose a couple of colors, cut them out, and then even if you choose 3 colors, you have 3 colors to build a couple of different cards with. And even if you don't use all the pieces, you could save the pieces for later for another project. And I think that's what I really like about this die, not this job, this die. So that way you have extra pieces that you might not need to have to cut out later. And I'm all about that, making things a little bit easier on myself when it comes to this kind of thing. So we're going to add some more glue here, and we'll be able to mash that down. And because I lined up those bands that go across, it looks continuous. And you could leave it just like this, but I thought I would add in a little bit of holographic there and figure out what little layering bit here that I'd like the best. So once I've decided on that, I'm going to go ahead and glue everybody down. So we're going to add some more glue to the first little bit here and glue that onto the holographic paper. And then we'll go ahead and grab that second piece there and glue everybody down on top of that. So I would be interested to learn, how many of you prefer this type of card method? Just layering everything on top and adding in a sentiment or maybe a small stamped image? Or do you prefer the ink blending and the creating with the scenes with the stamps and dies, or the decoupage look, or the junk journal look, or the distress look, or, I mean, the looks of one single card are endless, but I know the layering cards like this are a little out of my element. I've done them before, but they have never been my preferred, go-to method. But the fact that you could make so many different cards with just one die and have like a stockpile of blank cards already done, just waiting for a sentiment, is kind of really appealing to me, because I know there have been times where I've needed a card, but the sentiment on the card just doesn't fit the occasion. And it's like you really like the card, but the sentiment is off, and you don't really want to give the person this card because of the specific sentiment. So I think in the long run, something like this would be really great to have on hand, because, again, like, you could make a whole bunch of cards using this one die in different colored paper, to where all you got to do is, even add a stamped image on the outside of it, or your sentiment on the outside, or you could even stamp the sentiment on the inside and just keep it blank on the outside. The possibilities for this are quite endless, and I kind of find this die rather exciting for that reason. I mean, there's so much that you could do. So here I'm just taking some of these bits here and creating a little bit of embellishment, I guess you could. I mean, you could add smaller embellishments in glue, but I thought that this almost kind of gave like a pastel 80s vibe, and I was quite satisfied with the way it turned out, especially with that little pop of holographic there with the pastel colors. And I thought these colors would be great also to have like a spring vibe to it, if you will. So once everybody's glued down, we have our cards complete. I thought these were a lot of fun to put together, and look, like you could add your sentiment right off to the side here. You can leave it blank. You can keep them in your stash for later. The possibilities truly are endless with this die. Make sure to check out the description box below for all the juicy details and where to find this. Don't forget to like and subscribe as it all helps this channel grow. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.